You have to openly be willing to be led. And that's part of being in the new guy status is you're an observer, you learn. And if you think you can jump right into the hot seat and start teaching people who've already been downrange and done all this stuff and been in business for years and that, it doesn't work. I don't care how smart you are. You don't know the ins and outs of everything, right? So you have to be led first and be willing to be led and accept that, okay, this is my time to learn. And then when you start to shine and you start to teach others, you still have to be an observer. So I just wanted to say that piece because I think it's super valuable. I think officers get screwed in the military because they come in, they're butter bars right out of the gate, and they can tell a platoon chief who's got 10, 15 deployments under him to combat, hey, you shouldn't do that. And they'll be like, excuse me? You have to be able to be led before you can lead.
Welcome back to the Asset Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Fielding, former Green Beret and author of The Asset Mindset. Today, we have a very special guest, Ryan Birdman, Patriot, or Parrott, sorry, not Patriot. You are a Patriot. I have that on the mind. And we're getting a little humor right off the bat, so I love it. Why don't you introduce yourself and say hello?
My name is Ryan Birdman, Patriot, Parrott. So, hi, how you doing? That is awesome. That is such a good deal. We should keep that for sure. Yeah, so honored to be here. And like I was saying before we got started, just being able to be on shows. We've been doing work for 15 years out of the service and never a dull moment being able to tell our testimony, share a story, because it's grown now more towards instead of telling people about what we do, it's being able to receive or send the message to somebody who needs to receive it. Because there's veterans, there's first responders, there's civilians who are struggling, who just at that cataclysmic moment need to hear it. So if we can get one in our lifetime and help them, we're good to go. So thank you for this opportunity.
Well, it's great to have you here and for you to share your mindset, because just because you aren't special forces or aren't a special operator, I like to tell people all the time that they can still have an asset mindset. So I want to ask you, when did you first develop your asset mindset?
Well, that started in the teams for sure, because before that, I was a complete turd growing up. I mean, a rascal like most of us, grew up in Detroit, played ice hockey. That's what we do. We grew up, we get on the ice right away. And I never really I never was interested in anything to a degree where I wanted to take it to the next level. I failed just about every subject in school, moved from parents' house to parents' house, and wasn't really getting in any big trouble, but just never turned it on. So I never had any kind of leadership, or I was never a leader, none of that stuff. And maybe the first point in that asset mindset was really my teacher, Mr. Barnes, who was my sophomore year of high school. And this guy was a Marine in Vietnam. And he was one of those total boisterous Marines, wore the old Marine Corps bifocals, and he would run around the class with the American flag. He's 100 miles an hour. And he's like, Marine Corps. And you're just like, okay, got it. Check. And that's all that I had to go off of with the military, because both my grandfathers served in World War II, didn't really share the stories, right? And so, one day he stood before class and he said, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one thing better than Marine Corps, and that's the U.S. Navy SEALs. And I'm like, really? Like, everything he talks about is Marine Corps. So, okay, I'm in, I'm listening. And he made it sound so insane that I'm like, oh, I'm in, that's me, So I went after class. I'm like, Mr. Barnes, I'm gonna be a Navy SEAL. And he just started laughing violently at me. And I'm like, why are you laughing at me? And he's like, dude, you're not even passing my class and it's an elective. How are you going to pass SEAL training? Good point, right? But that was the change for me, was he kept his word. And, I think that's why teachers can be so vital in our success, not just as a child, but as an adult, because he said, I will get you some information on it. Sure enough, I showed up the next day. There's a Reader's Digest magazine, The Making of an American Warrior. And I read it and I couldn't put it down. And I'm like, this is it. Compiling that with a few months later, 9/11. And that really sandwiched it together for me, where I'm like, all right, I'm doing it. I can't fix what just happened, but maybe I could be a part of the solution, like most of us felt going in, right? Absolutely. And so that was the start for me. But really learning leadership and having a strong mindset really comes from the teams. I was raised as a young adult in the SEAL teams. I watched unbelievable leaders under crazy chaos and battle, keep it calm, keep it collected, move the team forward. And so as a young guy, you're an observer. So you just watch all the leaders do what they do and you soak it up. And the problem is, as you get more seasoned, you stop becoming an observer. So for me, that's one of the mindsets is like be the sniper, right? You sit there on your ass the whole time and you just wait and wait and wait. You're an observer. Same thing with life. We should all be observers throughout our life. Every time that I have a problem with something, it's usually me, and I have to shut my mouth and listen and observe again. So, and I'm saying this to the crowd as much as I'm saying it's me. We got to continually be observers. That's what gives us that growth and that mindset.
No, I love that. And I use the acronym STOP all the time. And like,
Mhm.
you just need to stop, like, stop, think, there's your observe, and then plan.
Yeah.
Then what you're going to do. When you're in a situation in life that you're stuck or struggling, you absolutely need to do that because if you're just reacting, it's better than doing nothing. But if you want to be as successful as possible, you want to have a plan and a direction that you want to go in. So, what were the big leadership takeaways that you got on the team? Like you're saying they helped shape and mold you. What
hmm
was it?
Number one, I remember we were on it was the first time I was on a rappel tower. Nothing crazy, but to me, it was crazy because I'd never done it. And we're going down it. And so I went down it. I get back up, and my chief at the time, he said, "Why don't you try it Aussie style?" I'm like, "What's that?" And he's like, "Well, it's where you go forward instead of backwards." I'm like, "Huh?" Like, that just sounds horrible. That sounds like death. And I look over the edge and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know that I want to do that." And he goes, "Check this out, man. Try everything once because one, you'll prove to yourself that you can do it. And that builds confidence. Two, you might just find that you love it." Got it. And so I tried it, and sure enough, Aussie's way better than going backwards. And I'm like, I'm all in. And so that was the first thing is when a new opportunity comes up, you got to get in. You got to try. You got to test. You got to just go for it. So that was a big one for me. And then the leadership things. I mean, I've learned this in the SEAL teams, and I also learned it in base jumping by one of my coaches. He's nuts. His name's Christopher McDougall. Everybody calls him Dukes. He's a psycho base jumper from originally from Australia, crazy Australian, but he lives in Switzerland. And he said, when you're ready to pull your parachute, wait an extra second because what you're doing is you're panicking. Give yourself an extra second to level out, then pull. And so that's what I do in my life now is I
Hmm.
wait that extra second instead of just jumping into something or charging and saying, okay, got to do this or making a reaction to something that happened or anything politically. Wait an extra second, breathe, then pull. So that's another one that goes for me.
Nice. How'd you get into base jumping?
You know, it's funny. Most people say I get into base jumping. People do get into base jumping because they're psychos or they love jumping or whatever. I actually did it because I wanted to do a big project to support veteran first responders. So I wanted to do some gnarly stunt, and so I compiled a team, got some of the best base jumpers around me to train me, and so I went on a fast progression where most people get into it and they have fun with it. I was like stressed the whole time because I'm going through a fast progression of going from no base jumps to flying a wingsuit in a base and base jumping, going to Switzerland, doing all this stuff, and requires a lot of jumps. And I did it in a very condensed but professional manner. And so now I get to actually do it for fun. And we never got to finish the stunt, but it is what it is. I don't really jump much anymore with kids, but it's uh it's always staring at me like, hey, you got one more in you.
Yeah. Absolutely. So what's it like wearing the suit? I mean, I've jumped out of planes, static line and regular, but never did a suit. What's that like?
The different ball game. It's if you've done the appropriate amount of jumps, it's just another layer. So the problem with wingsuiting is because you're so much fabric, you have so much surface area now. So your wind deflection is much different than you would in skydiving. When you're skydiving, you start spiraling out of control. You can just arch your body and you can start to level out again and start falling. You can't do that in a wingsuit with your arms open and your legs open. So you have to close everything up and then you have to arch even though you're closed and wait for your wobbles to stop. So you basically have to wait. And then once it opens up, if you have a flat spin or whatnot, and then you can start flying again. But when you start moving it and you actually start flying it and you see the ground flying underneath you, that's when it's like, all right, now this became a drug, an addiction, because it's insane. I mean, it is the most, Duke says it too, it's like the most primal sport you can do. You got one parachute, one opportunity to make it right. It's nuts. But the endorphin kick off of that, you can't drink 1,000 cups of coffee and get the same response. So there's a lot of ego involved in it as well because you shouldn't base jump. It's stupid. There's a lot of statistics on death. It's probably the most dangerous sport out there. So, I always tell people, like, if you're going to get into this stuff, really take the time and just slowly go through the progression because it's supposed to be fun. You're not supposed to rush through it. You're not rushing to be a Green Beret and you can go through the course in 2 weeks or the Q course in a couple weeks. It takes time. Same thing with the SEALs. Yeah. So it's fun though.
Yeah, it is fun, but like you said, it's dangerous. There's been a lot of professionals that have died doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know that more than me because you're in the community. But
One thing I wanted to say to your point of asking me a couple of the lessons learned, I think the biggest thing that I learned though is you cannot be a leader if you haven't been led. So you have to openly be willing to be led. And that's part of being in the new guy status is you're an observer, you learn. And if you think you can jump right into the hot seat and start teaching people who have already been downrange and done all this stuff and been in business for years and that, it doesn't work. I don't care how smart you are. You don't know the ins and outs of everything, right? So you have to be led first and be willing to be led and accept that, okay, this is my time to learn. And then when you start to shine and you start to teach others, you still have to be an observer. So I just wanted to say that piece because I think it's super valuable. I think officers get screwed in the military because they come in, they're butter bars right out of the gate, and they can tell a platoon chief who's got 10, 15 deployments under him to combat, hey, you shouldn't do that. And they'll be like, excuse me? So you have to be able to be led before you can lead.
yeah, yeah. And any good butter bar is actually going to know that. If they come in there thinking they're the boss straight up, yeah, you're going to have problems.
Oh, yeah.
We've all seen that type of stuff. But I think one of the things you're keen on right now that's really cool is patience.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't have patience because can you talk more about patience and how important it is?
Yeah, we walked away from it, right? Instant gratification. We've got social media, we've got the web. Everybody's using everything. Chat GPT. I still don't use Chat GPT. I've used it a couple times, and I was a kid growing up who watched The Terminator, and immediately, well, I loved the movie. I was like, I'm paranoid. I think these guys are going to kill us someday. And sure enough, we're in this era where they could. So because you have everything at the ready instantaneously, you lose it. I mean, I look at my children today. Let's say, they jump on YouTube, which my wife and I, we limit their exposure to it, but they get on. And if it's, buffering or whatever, there's an internet outage for a second, they lose their mind. And it's like patience is out the window. So, again, going back to being a sniper, you're trained to become a bush and just sit there, and what's cool about it is if you truly take that in, you're now living in the moment, which a lot of people have missed. They're either living in the past or they're just so focused on the future that they're missing their whole life. And so for me, when I sit there and I observe and I sit with myself, I can actually gain intel, but I also don't put all the stressors on myself. And I'm not saying that I've done this my whole life in practice. Like I had completely done the opposite. So I'm in the phase of my life just recently where I'm actually starting to be more of an observer again and really be patient about things. My wife, this is the funny thing. They're like, man, you were a Navy SEAL sniper, so you must have all the patience in the world. It's like, yeah, until I had kids. And then that went right out the window, blown out of the window. So I'm relearning it again. And I think that's a part of our makeup is we're consistently having to reinvent our understanding of what patience is and what life is because there's so many different new objectives, right? So it's taking it day by day, one step at a time. Like, okay, today I know that I have to get a workout in and I have to do my work and I have to take care of my kids, my wife, and we have to plan stuff and fix stuff around the house and all that stuff. Okay, well, that's overwhelming. What do I need to do right now? Okay, there's my objective. So that's going to bring in that patience. It's going to help slow your mindset down so that you can focus on just that, get it done well. And my dad always used to say, always start out the morning, not right out of the gate, but when you get moving in the morning, always start out with the hardest task of the day. So yeah, it sucks to begin with, but then you get it done, and then the rest of the day you're like, "Hey, everything's cool because something else is gonna pop," you know?
Yeah, something always happens. But I like the like 20-meter target. Like take care of
Yeah,
that immediate threat or that immediate need. And you keep doing that, you start stacking wins. And the more you can stack wins in life, the further down the road you get. It's amazing.
yeah.
So I want to touch in. I mentioned a little bit during the intro what you went through in Iraq. If you could share a little bit about, your IED experience and how that shook you and shaped you and how you overcame.
Yeah. It was 2005, and we were driving down the road in Iraq, Route Michigan, most dangerous road at the time. And it's kind of funny, right? It's the most dangerous road. It's called Route Michigan. I'm from Michigan. So, it's like, oh, I'm home. Um, we got blown up by an IED. It was a pressure plate, and it blew the front end of our Hummer off, and it shot me out of the turret. And we like to make the joke that I went flying all over the place, like 300 feet, just for fun. It didn't happen like that. It was blown up onto the top of the turret and then rolled off. But we were all busted up pretty good. And what was instantaneous is because of all this training we had to do beforehand. Like, we do so much training, you don't realize how much you really compile and then how it becomes muscle memory. So immediately we get into a defensive mode to say, okay, could get ambushed. We've got guys bleeding out. We're still on this X. We got to get off the X. We got to get them to medical. So we work cohesively. And because we work cohesively, I believe it was like 20 minutes, something like that, from time on target of that actual hit to being in the hospital, fixing the guys up. I was the least of the injured, and everybody else had some pretty catastrophic wounds. Everybody lived, which was awesome. That's why I don't have any issues talking about it, because we worked together well and everybody lived. But it taught me a lot, at that age. You think about it, I was like 21, 22 years old at the time, maybe probably 21. Now I'm in a position where I'm injured, I'm burned, I have shrapnel, everybody else is bad. We're in the middle of nowhere. We can't get a QRF fast enough or quick reactionary force fast enough to come get us. Um, we don't have the assets available. We're Guys are bleeding. We got to get them out there or off there. And you think about doing that at 21 years old. Most people are in college or thinking about college and they're like, okay, I have to make a decision if I'm going to do my homework or not today, or I'm going to show up to class or whatever. And we're fighting for our life overseas. And, you're not going to get a medal off this. It's not about medals and presentations and all that stuff. It's about just everybody living. And so that right there, my dad used to say that I was 21 going on 40 because of those life experiences. And then when I would get out at around 28, 29, I was 29 going on 20 again because now I'm starting over again. But ultimately, that paused me because when you see something like that, you don't sweat the small shit, right? There's so many things that we create as problems. Like, I have to get this email out today. It's so important. I got to get it out right now because it just came in. Well, it's midnight. Do you really? Are you the emergency room? No. So we all build this around our lifestyle to say, okay, if I just keep doing this, I'm going to get to that win and I'm going to make it to that next level or whatever. But you're not. If you get an email out today at midnight versus the next morning after you've had your cup of coffee, or your workout, or your meditation, or whatever, it's really paused me to look at a bigger overall view of life and say, okay, what's the true importance and do I factor into it? Which leads me to, most of the time we make promises to everybody else, whether it's in business or home life, where it's like, I'm going to get that done today, or I'm going to do that, I'm going to get this job done today, or whatever. You never factor yourself into that equation. When do you make a promise to yourself and you keep it? And so I think that's a huge part of this is you got to make promises to yourself. Like for me, I'm a 42-year-old dude who loves to skateboard, right? I just love skating. I am not a pro, and I can't skate street to save my life. I do vert ramp and all that stuff, but some days I just wanna go grab my stick, and I wanna go out to the skate park and ride for just in 45 minutes, drop in, ride the walls, and it just gives me peace. But I made a promise to myself I was gonna do something for me, and that keeps that cup full because there's so many things outside of that that are coming at you that are gonna keep you away from yourself. So, I think that's the big thing is factor yourself into your daily routine to make sure that you're still strong too. Otherwise, you're no good to anybody else.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that you're talking about taking ownership of your life. Like people do, they get up early for work and to work towards someone else's dreams or their business or their boss's dreams, and they forget about themselves. And we need to take ownership of that because that'll fill your cup exactly like you said. Powerful
Yeah.
stuff right there. So after the IED happens and you've done all this realization, how has this now shaped you and what you're doing with organizations and helping people? Like, talk us through that and what you're doing now.
So I didn't, after that scenario, I deployed, I think, four more times, twice to Iraq, one to Lebanon, one to the Philippines. and then I got out. But I never ever thought I would be involved in a charity, running a charity, creating one, whatever, let alone two, and supporting others. But in fact, I used to make a joke where I'm like, charity work's kind of lame. Like, get a real job. Didn't realize how cumbersome and intense it can be. But ultimately, I got involved because I didn't realize I got out on my own terms, and I got out limited on injury, right? Like, I can still move, I can still do what I want to do. So I was just getting into business, and I started meeting veterans who were struggling bad. And I realized that even though I didn't have their physical abilities, their physical disablements, mentally, we were all in the same boat. We are all on the same page. And like, okay, so the physical side's hard, but the mental side's really where it's at. I met an Army Ranger who was severely disfigured from an IED in 2011, and that kicked off this idea of like, let's help burn survivors. And we started a small little mom and pop shop called Sons of the Flag to help burn patients, and it immediately blew up on us. Like, grew. Firefighters were adopting us, FDNY and DC, and we were starting to grow nationally before we even grew locally. So it was like, wow, this
Wow.
this was bigger than I thought. And then moving from there, I was like, why not? Well, if you have one charity, why not have two? Because I'm an idiot and I want to start more and do more. And so, yeah, that's another thing. Don't crowd your plate. But ultimately, I started this other outfit called Bird's Eye View Project because I look at charities today and I say, okay, there's so many of them. So if a vet's struggling and they say they can't get help, I think it's bullshit. I think there's so much help out there that they have to take an initiative. And I don't result to blaming the military for our issues. Okay. There's a certain point where you have to take ownership over your own health and wellness. And I know it's hard. And there's things that happen in the military that could, speed up the process of your injury or whatever it may be. But from day one, the military's objective is not to, make sure that you're a professional athlete. You're built to go support national security. So it's incumbent upon us to know what we're putting in our bodies food wise and supplementation wise. We have to get appropriate sleep. We can't be screwing around and drinking all the time. And we don't follow protocols to promote health and wellness. So we have to take some ownership over this. But the reality is that guys are now killing themselves at a cyclic rate. And so we do have to intervene. And I'm not saying that our charity is the only one that tries to help fix problems. We have to do it collectively. So that's why I started a charity called Bird's Eye View Project, where we do big, big events. We do crazy things to create assets. So we have documentaries, we have performance manuals. And that way we can sell them, and 100% of the net proceeds of these assets in perpetuity come into our cause to support multiple other causes, multiple different modalities to help guys. And so that's the deal: is taking a veteran first responder, dropping them in the epicenter of our charity and saying, okay, here's the issues you have or what you're telling us. So these are the charities that we're partnering with that can help you. And if we're funding them, we can get these guys into these appropriate places. I say guys and girls, but anybody who put a uniform on in any capacity, we support. And so, and we're very bold on how we do this. We'll do anything it takes to get somebody help, even to the tune of psychedelic therapy. We don't run psychedelics, but we actually fund groups that do it to get guys taken care of. So I will always get a slap on the wrist or answer for it later when I know that there's a modality there that might help that person, because I'm tired of the statistics. And this all comes from 2019. I got a phone call that my sniper partner took his life. And David Metcalf is his name. He was a SEAL. He was enlisted. He went officer. This the greatest dude. You know those guys in your outfit, your team, your platoon, that were just the guys that everybody was like, he's the go-to. He's the true north. That's what I call him. And you never think that your mentor is gone. Your mentor is bomb-proof, right? They're always there, and then he's not. And it shattered me. So that's when I really stepped my game up with the nonprofit work to say, okay, we need to start really healing people. No more hope bullshit. No more possible feel good stuff. It's about change now. Let's empower the veteran first responder to take the power in their own hands now, gifting them a manual that they can help fix their own physiology, send them to different modalities should they need help and treatment, get them on a path and moving forward. But the integration process after is just as important. So I don't care about the number of people that we're helping anymore. What I care about is making sure that when we do get in the door with somebody, that we're going to fully help them and make sure that they know that we're here, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to be their coverage. So that's why we partner with multiple organizations. And so we're releasing a new website in the next 6 weeks called birdseyeviewproject.org. So stay tuned. It'll be cool. It'll explain exactly what we do. And that way, if you know somebody or yourself is struggling, you can go check us out and we might be able to help you. We sure hope we can, but we will do everything in our power to do it or get you to the right place. And donations are always welcome.
Absolutely. And God bless you, brother. You're doing great work. And
Thank you,
here
brother.
we're about transformation, not just motivation. And please hit pause right now because you see the positive things that Ryan is doing and we're trying to do here with the asset mindset. Give us a like, give us a follow, check out the bird's eye view, check out everything Ryan's doing. Please like, subscribe, and share. It helps us, it helps get the message out, and it helps us help others. So thank you for that. And always, of course, do something positive to help others when you can, the next kind thing. So let's talk about team. You've mentioned team a lot. I've dealt with team a lot. For people that are civilians that have never experienced the team mentality, explain how powerful it is to surround yourself with good people.
Well, I'm certain that most people have surrounded themselves with both good and bad, and you know the bad from the good. And so let that be a lesson, a consistent lesson. My big thing is in the past, I try not to make mistakes, but most importantly, I try not to make the same mistakes because I was a habitual user of that. I would make the same mistakes and I'd find myself grabbing my own tail again and again and again. Like, "God, I keep doing this to myself." So it's one of those things where you say, okay, I just got to put a good team together and then we can prosper. Well, yes, if you put a good team together, you will absolutely crush it. But finding those people, and it's more so like when I go into a meeting with a business person that I don't know, I don't do any due diligence on them because I don't care what you've done in the past. I don't care what your accolades show. I want to know how you treat me right out of the gate, and I want to treat you the same, but I want it to be built on a relationship fundamentally on how we interact with each other before we start to go, oh, he was a Navy SEAL. Let's talk more about that. Most of the time, I tell people I was in the Navy, and they're like, oh, thanks for your service. They don't want to have any other conversation. They're like, Navy's not really military. Like, we talk more like Marine Corps, Army. Ooh, what's your MOS? But with Navy, they're like, thanks. So ultimately, for me, doing a lot of that where I'm now being patient, I'm being quiet, and I'm serving, listening to them talk and just how they treat me, that's what shows me pretty quickly on who that person is. Are they jumping right into business and they don't want to get to know the human? Well, okay, maybe I don't necessarily want to work with them, or maybe they're just not my type of person. And so I try to surround myself with people that actually spend the time checking in, that, worry about me as much as they worry about themselves, because that's the kind of guy I am. So I try to emulate what I do to other people. I try to look for that in other people. And that's what something that a lot of us share, and especially in the South community, is that we are service members. What does service members mean? Not the uniform, it's we serve people, right? So I think that that is a key right there when you're building a team is how much do these people want to serve people through their product or process, whatever it may be. So that's what I look for. And I've been very blessed where I've surrounded myself with a ton of good people who they're willing to do the same thing. They just want to help and be a servant. So we've got an incredible event we do every year. It's September 25th through the 27th. It's called Black Ops. I know, real original. Created it myself. No big deal. But the idea behind it was I don't like doing galas and golf tournaments and crap like that. They're boring to me. And while they can generate revenue, it's just there's too many of them. And I want to be a charity that does. We work hard, not just in what we do for patients, but what we do across the board. Our events are very meticulous. They're very, very high level. They're very hard to put on. And so Black Ops was an idea that I've had for a long time, but I love everything to be experiential. When people
Hmm.
say to you, thank you for your service, you know how it goes, man. You're like, yeah, you're welcome. Thanks. Like, if you'd have known me previously to me being a SEAL, you'd have been like, you'd have never said thank you for my service. You know what I mean? And it's like hard to accept because we don't look at it like I deserve that thank you. We look at it as it was my honor, right? So for
Absolutely.
me, I asked a question to a buddy of mine. I said, "Why do you say thank you to me?" Like, I'm not saying that because I don't believe we deserve any of that, but I would love to know your opinion why you say it. And he's like, "Because I could never do what you do." I said, "Well, what do we do? Tell me from your lens what Navy SEALs do." And he
Hmm.
told me, and I was like, "No, not at all. I mean, the movies sure will tell you that, but no." Okay. I need to educate people on what we do. But instead of me educating you on what we do by showing you some kind of FAM or demo, let me put you in the hot seat. So we bring a bunch of people together in September into essentially Dallas, Texas. It's a weekend event, and we teach them high risk medical scenarios. So we teach them how to use a medical kit, and um, not only do they train on it with real medics, but then they also get to keep the medical kits and place it in their home because biggest thing you look at is if somebody's in your house, they get an injury. Do you know where your medical kit is? No. Do you know what's in it? No. Is it prepped? No. Do you know how to use everything in there? Can you combat these situations and stabilize before EMS gets there? They don't know any of this stuff. So I'm like, all right, bring it back to the basics. Medical's huge. Secondarily, hand to hand combat. Not because we want to train you to go be in the UFC and be in the octagon, but scenarios happen every single day in the United States and everywhere around the world where you have to at least have the basic knowledge on how to protect your family. So we bring in UFC fighters and pro fighters to actually teach real relevant stuff, not just go kill everybody. It's how do you deflate this situation, de escalate, get out of there. And then we talk about weapons, being professional around a weapon was we know, people look at us and sometimes you'll get a person who comes in and is like, gun holder or whatever. It's like, no, we're very professional around weapons because we know what they can do and what they're capable of. So we want to ensure that people around a weapon, especially with us, understand the left and right limits of it. We take all this information over a weekend, we train them on each individual thing, and then we put them together on a team of 5, fully kitted up at night on a helicopter and send them to an actual raid where they're gonna hit targets and they're gonna do everything from hand to hand to shooting to medical down man scenarios. It's nuts. And so it's a full FAM, a full FMP. And that way it exposes them to the idea of what we really do. And I know that it was effective because that same guy who asked me, when I asked him the question, what do you think we do? When he got done, he goes, dude, I used to think you guys were here. And then he started crying and he goes, and now I think you guys are up there. And I said, why? Because we just went into a target to go kill bad guys and we were using simunition. You guys do this when those guys have real weapons with real ammo and are trying to kill you, and you still do it for us. And he started crying. I was like, cool, objective met. And we raise money for the cause to continue to help veterans, first responders. So we're always looking for more participants. And of course, we're going to be calling you and Denny to come over and be instructors. So it'll be a gas, man. We do it every year. It's our one key event that we do to support our cause and really just show support for the people who support us to keep us moving forward.
No, I love that concept, man. I came up with a concept, the Green Beret Mission Challenge, with a nonprofit up in New Hampshire before I moved to Nashville. And we do something similar because everybody is like, oh, the military. And we're like, how do we put them, in the boots of the soldier?
Mm.
So the Green Beret Mission Challenge, at first we were trying to do a fundraiser and raise money to help, first responders, veterans that are struggling as like a Tough Mudder or a Spartan race. And we're like, no, what if we, put them with a Green Beret or some special operations and they walk through a mission scenario, like they cross a border. We have dogs, they get pucked and they get zip tied and bags over their head, dogs bark and interrogated. They got to try and get out and they raid and rescue a down pilot. The VIP experience, we train them ahead of time like you do. So I love the concept, what you have, because a lot of people aren't doing that.
Like
And to
Robin
see
Sage, man.
people, yeah, pretty much. That's what we kind of modeled it after. Obviously we can't do it as long, but it's a weekend event. And it's so cool. It's a 2.5 mile course where they get to navigate, do things, they're they get a machine gun bunker, they get a low crawl, throw a grenade into the bunker, and then they get scored and graded, and the best teams get, plaques or awards. It's really a great organization. If anybody's listening, Swim with a Mission, you can check them out, or Camp Resilience. They're out of New Hampshire, and it's an amazing event in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. I still go and support it and travel from Nashville every year, and it's growing and it's amazing, and you want to check it out. And also check out Black Ops, what Ryan has going on, because events like this, if you're a civilian and you never served and you've always been curious, you will go to an event like this changed afterwards, because you're going to see things at another level. And honestly, you're never going to be able to have the full real experience without doing it, but it'll give you enough behind the curtains that you can understand what men like us have gone through, or people, soldiers that have deployed, and the care the selfless service. I mean, it's amazing. That's one of the things, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Guys that are just willing to do whatever for other people and are
Yeah.
giving. It changes you. And yeah, so you as a civilian, if you get an opportunity, try out Black Ops, Green Beret with a mission challenge, VIP experience. It can be a game changer. And do you take organizations? Like, are there teams or are you just individuals or how does
Yeah,
yours
we do
work?
teams and individuals. Yeah, it's we cut discounts for teams, but we have a little bit of everything. We get corporate that buy teams for their people, whether it's their executives. We do have a lot of high net worth individuals that come to this event, but they'll bring their teams because it really is a bonding experience. And then some of them will buy spots for employees that are really producing for them as a gift. And so it's many different ways. We also gift out a certain amount of spots every year to other charities so they can use them as fundraiser auctions and things like that. So there's many ways to skin that cat. But again, it we don't get so wrapped up on how much money we raise anymore.
Mm.
It's because again, it's not about the driving factor. The driving factor is never chase the money, but put on a good performance, teach people. So our charity event is not just an event to have fun and showcase what we do as an organization. We are teaching people in real time stuff that they need to use in their own life. So it's very important. That's why I love what you guys are doing as well. And I have a feeling that we're going to partner in the future and do this stuff collectively together because I haven't had my hands on a grenade in a while. So I think it's time back to it. But, you know, in it, this is the big thing too, is when you're a veteran or first responder and you get out of the service, you're going to have hard time, right? Because it's not about doing the job. I mean, sure, the jobs are cool at times, but you spend 90% of your time doing the bullshit for 10% of the fun, right? But it's that muster where you're with the team every day that you miss. Like, man, just miss hanging out with the guys, getting there and just talking and knowing that I'm part of something. When you're a veteran first responder, before you even exit the service, or if you're out of the service but you're not doing anything, get involved with a local charity that suits your fancy right out of the gate because it brings you back into the brotherhood, the sisterhood, brings you collectively back into your people. And then you're also helping people, and you'll realize that unlocking somebody else's problem will help you with yours. So, I think you definitely, and then if we get everybody helping, it's going to change the trajectory of the veteran first responders lifespan. So, for the better. Yeah.
No, I love that keying in on the transition because people do, they feel lost, they feel isolated. And if you can get involved with a charity and an organization that is doing good work, that's going to help you build your new team outside of the military.
Right.
And that is so important. So that's great advice. Anybody out there, you're listening. So speaking of great advice, what would you give someone that's maybe struggling, has victim mentality, or is healing from a traumatic event? What would
Mm.
you advise them, or how would you help them get their mind right?
First thing I would say to them, which I've done several times, I'm somewhat blunt. I'm very blunt. I just say, stop your shit right now, and I want you to go run a mile. That's it.
Mm.
It's as simple as that. One simple movement, okay? Because one thing is, a lot of us who really struggle, we get to a point where we become sedentary. We're in that woe is me mindset, right? So it's very hard to move forward. So by doing one simple accomplishment, we'll open that door just ever so slightly. But every single day, it's going to inchworm that door open to where it's fully open and you can now walk through. So I had a buddy who was struggling. He was telling me that he was just about at the end of his road. And I said, I want you to just stop right now. And I want you to go run a mile. Hit me up afterwards. Do it. Click. He does it. And of course, I know his mentality. So he's like, fuck your mile. I'm going to go a little bit further. So of course, afterwards, he hits me and he's smiling and he's sweaty. And I'm like, how you doing? He's like, I feel good. So what do you feel good? He's like, "Oh, because I went and ran, perhaps. Perhaps you got endorphins flowing. Perhaps you just accomplished something. Your body's built to move. Perhaps you did that. Or perhaps it's a friend that checked in on you and said, hey, get your ass in gear and move. Maybe it's a combination of all that. I don't know. But what I do know is you're going to get up tomorrow and you're going to do it again. And every single day, you're going to check off one thing that you didn't do previously. And in 6 months' time, just like any kind of an addict, you're going to become bomb proof to where you're not living in the past anymore and you're moving forward to the future, but you're focusing on that one thing. And once you start to get into that routine of, okay, I did a mile today, I can do a mile tomorrow, or I can do a mile in 2 days, I can walk a mile, I don't have to run it. Man, I'm feeling all right. I think this is kind of easy now. Maybe I step up a little bit. So again, it's not about charging, it's about just that marathon every little day and incremental growth. And that really gets you to the point where 6 months time, you're like, I feel really good. I can actually go run a mile hard. In a year's time, you're like hammering the weights and you're starting to get a body back and you're like actually feeling pretty good. In 2 years' time, you're hammering marathons and you're doing triathlons and that. And I say all this because this particular person, my dear friend who we went through this whole deal, he is over 50 now and he has the greatest six pack and he looks in shape and he's just feeling the best of his life and he is crushing it. And he was at the end of his road a couple years ago. So if he can do it, anybody can do it. And that's the thing is you got to just bite off one thing a day. So that's why I created the manual is because it's baby steps back into your future. Instead of having to take on everything, oh, I got to fix my diet, I got to get my sleep right, and I got to take all the stress off my back, and I got to think about raw proper supplementation. All right, I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to check everything out right now. And oh my God, there's so much saturation. I quit. It's one single thing a day. This is the manual that we created. And I told you my boy David Metcalf, he's my true north. So it's a $4 million manual. It took us almost 4 years to put together. But this is the comprehensive manual for your health and wellness, which will be available on Amazon in a couple weeks. And you can buy it. And inside of it, we'll have the documentary to explain everything as well. That's part of our mission set is to heal you by helping you heal yourself.
I love it, man. I love it. And I'm so glad you're putting that out, the manual. Everybody write that down. Go check it out. You can pre-order it now, correct? Or no?
Not yet. We're going to push everything out on Bird's Eye View Project on social media. And you can always go check my
Okay.
social media, Birdman Actual, and we'll be putting updates on where you can get it. But it's called the True North, the Field Manual. And yeah, it's gonna be a gas, man, because this is what we all dig into. This what we say on this manual is it's not going to turn you into a Michael Phelps or a Lance Armstrong. This manual is going to help you rebuild your physiology to the basics. So we help you put your foundation together. Once you've done that, you can put whatever home you want on top of it. That's
Mhm.
it.
Well, I love that. And I love that you're tapping in on movement because I think a lot of people just struggle with, being stuck in their mind. And if you start moving, you're running, you're, putting one foot in front of the other and you're moving, your mind tends to slow down because you're busy. And the more movement you have, I've had another guest, it's like his advice was go for a walk, which I
Mhm.
agree is the same thing. Get off the couch. If you can't run, get up, just go for a walk. Get moving, get outside, get in nature. You're going to see a bird. You're going to see blue skies. You're going to see whatever you may see on your walk. And you're not going to be focused on the problems. You need to live in the moment every once in a while so you can let those stress levels and that cortisol, calm down. Because if you're living under that condition, and your nervous system is overtaxed, it's not good. I know I've been there. I've gone out and I've had brain scans and different things that tell me like, hey, you're probably living a little too stressed. But you got to do the work and you got to keep moving forward. No matter where you are, whatever season of life, you can still grow. If you're breathing, you can change. And yeah, a lot of people say the world sucks, but if you change yourself, you're actually changing the world because you're a
Yeah.
part of the world.
Well, and to that point, the world sucks. I mean, maybe your world sucks, and maybe you're the cause of it, right? So you can't change the world if you're busted up and you're not moving forward in your own life. But do you really need to change the whole world? I think you need to change your objective in your life first, and then you can help your inner circle. This is something I made a promise to myself about 2 years ago. I was trying to help everybody, and I was getting burned out. I was just really getting burned out. Everybody started looking at me as this guy I could help, and I was like, I'm in. And then of course, you laugh because you know. And so ultimately, what I realized though is I went through my contact list and I put together a list of my people, the people that I know that I could pick up the phone and say, I need $1 million right now because I am in deep, deep shit, or I'm struggling health wise, or whatever. Any of the, of course, I don't ask for $1 million at a time. Anything though, would you be the guy willing to be there for me? And I put that list together, and not everybody in my family's on it.
Mhm.
But those are my people, and that's where I focus. And so now I can actually be a helper to them truly, and I'm not bogging myself down to where I can't help myself. And when you say, man, I did this, I did what you said, Bird, and I went and did a mile today and it didn't make me feel any better. I didn't hit it hard enough or whatever. It's bullshit. You did more today than you did yesterday. That is a win and an accomplishment. Okay. And so again, going back to the marathon mindset, go and do something Like, I didn't wanna work out at all, and I felt like shit, and now I'm like, "Okay, I'm working out again, and I'm actually getting those endorphins midday, and I'm feeling better, and I don't have that slump." Or if I'm feeling tired, I'm gonna go jump in a cold plunge, and it's gonna rock my world, and I'm gonna be full of endorphins and rock, and so there's always objectives, those little things that you place in your system every day. My wife, she says it best, she's like, "Is your workout on your calendar?" "No." "Okay, well, there's your problem. If it's not on your calendar, you're not gonna actually see it, you're not gonna do it, you're gonna push it to the side, you're gonna do other things because you feel those are more relevant and important." The end thing I'll say to this is we take better care of our cars than our own bodies in our own life, and that's bullshit. It's amazing to me. It's like, you got a dent in your car, gotta fix it right away, gotta get an oil change, gotta get gas in it, whatever. When's the last time you gave yourself the health and wellness that you receive that you need? You know, so it's like, start treating yourself better in your car, treat yourself every day. And I'm not saying stuff a bunch of cupcakes down your mouth. If you're hammering down and you're running big distance, then sure, carb up. But from that point, just do something small for yourself every day. After this show, I'm going to jump into the gym and do a lift, and I'm super excited about it. I'm 42 years old, and I'm now thrilled to be back in the gym working out, you know, and getting myself where I need to be. And I'm not by any means what I was in my 20s, but I'm excited about it. So,
Good, good. I feel you, man. I'm 50. I'm trying to be fit and 50. I've been working on things and trying to, take care of myself. Got young kids. I'm a dad, and you get priorities and realize, it's not all about me. It is about me though at the same time.
yeah.
Like if I don't take care of me, like you said, you don't take care of that car, it's not going to get you to your destination. It's going to break down. So your body's your vehicle through this world. So you need to be maintaining it and taking care of it. So, what do you think one lie is that people tell themselves, or an excuse they give themselves to put themselves off and not take care of their body?
I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Or, yeah, I mean, I think it's a big excuse because I've never heard anybody say it's not important enough. Everybody knows damn well
Mm.
that it's important enough for them to take care of their health and wellness. They know it, but they're not willing to do it because I'll just put it off till tomorrow. Tomorrow's a good day for it. Wrong. Tomorrow will be a good day for it tomorrow, but today will also be a good day for it too. And I've made this excuse to myself so many times. And then you look in the mirror and you're like, well, here's a result. You know, this is a result of your effort. You know, your effort's low. I remember when we were in the teams, you had to, qualify the new Navy PRT, the physical readiness exam, right? So even though we were SEALs, we still had to comply with the Navy's physical requirements every year. So we had to do two tests. They're nominal tests, but there's many categories within the test. High, expert high, like at the highest level of competition versus just passing. And they were like, if you don't get at the highest level and you're a team guy, then you're out, right? So we're always scoring at the highest level and trying to do it with max ease, right? And so when you get out, you're like, man, I am performing at an E to F level right now. I am failing. And my simple goal for myself was I need to just always, until the day that I die, be ready and be able to pass the Navy PRT. But it's the SEAL PRT. So we do a swim and a run on top of the push ups, sit ups, and pull ups. So, and I think they put a sit and reach in there because we had too many fat asses in the Navy who couldn't touch their toes. So they popped that one in there. It's like, oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. So that's the deal. It's like there's got to be some objective. You train. Why are you training? You training for health and wellness. You train because you want to get in the gym and you want to look pretty and you want to actually be a bodybuilder or whatever. There's got to be a real objective to what you're going for, but you also have to fall back on something. Can I at least pass this Navy PRT knowing that I'm in the place that I need to be health wise? Because you are killing yourself by not doing it. When I was not working out, I was slowly dying and I was letting it happen. That's not on anybody but me. And it's not, I wouldn't say that you should shame yourself for it. You should never shame yourself for it. I get that we get into ruts, but you also have the power inside of you to take it over and take it back. And so those baby steps will get you there. Stop thinking about the overall objective of getting a six pack again and being strong and lifting 250 pounds day by day. I'm curling 20, 25 pounds right now, doing it nice and slow, and I'm still getting a massive burn out of it. And I don't need to be huge. I've never been huge, but I don't need that. I just need to know that I can get up, I can go run with my kids, that I'm not going to pull my back, and I'm going to be able to be energetic for them. And for a long time, I wasn't. So this is my jam. It's like saying yes to more things too, as far as my children. That's the other key. Like they play hockey. Okay, I'm going to put them both in hockey. I'm going to be an assistant coach. Now I'm the head coach. So let's get more involved because there's a shelf life there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't go back and change the past.
No.
So you brought another key point up that I want to add. And I think this is very powerful. What you were even talking about your wife sounds like you got a smart woman. So God bless you. Uh, Calendar, putting it on your calendar, the gym. Let's talk about calendars and how important it is to have one.
Yeah. You wake up in the morning and you got to get started with your day, and you're like, all right, what do I have on the docket the night before? Okay, what do I have on the docket that I have to do today? Do I got to be prepped for something? Oh, I got a podcast today. I'm going to have to make sure that I'm prepped and I don't want to look like a cheese ball coming on. So there's certain things that you have to do. And so if you're not calendaring, if you're writing it in a notepad, if the only focal point that you have is a notepad and you live religiously off of it, then do you. But you've got to have somewhere where you're tracking your life so that you can actually see this stuff. And calendars are so important. I run off a calendar. I think we all of us, most of us do. So why not put those things in there? Anytime there's a school event or a hockey event, it's on that calendar. Why not a workout? Or why not 20 minutes? Like there's a lot of guys who do what they call mental health walks and they go for 20 minutes or 30 minutes and they just go walk or they do some meditation. Jam it on there. Block out some space for you. So, and don't get crazy where you're, and this is my wife. She always tells me, she's like, don't just go Navy SEAL it, right? You can't just go the 6 days of working out at hard RPMs, fives, just crushing your life, start out a couple days and just put it on there, put it in repeating, but make sure it's on the calendar and then don't miss. Would you, if I have a podcast on the calendar, am I going to just text them and say, hey guys, can't do it today. Sorry, and blow them off? No, I'm going to make that meeting. Well, the same thing. Anything that's on your calendar, unless you get a call from the hospital saying your kids are in the hospital, make the meeting. Make the meeting with yourself. Go hit the gym. Do whatever. So I think calendaring is it's just so simple. So it takes 2 seconds to put something on there and it's loaded, and then live by it. Really, just let it shape you. Let it take you with it. So yeah.
No, that's great sound advice, man. I mean, you're going to help so many people. You already are. I love the work you're doing and the ripple effects that are going to be heading out there. And I'm sure you've already seen it with some people, especially with the manual coming out, True North. That sounds great to me. I got a workbook that I got out that's on my website. People can check out. And to do the work and do the exercises or have something to go by, it just really facilitates growth. And I love that you are like fertilizer for people that you're working with. And even being on here, sharing your mindset with the asset mindset viewers, you are doing great work, brother. And I'm proud of you. And I hope you keep doing it. And if I can help and be an asset, let me know. I'll see what I can do, see what my calendar's looking like. I'd love to support what you got going on. But
Yeah.
before we go today, I want you to really give some life advice that you would give to your younger you. Like you said, "Oh, when I was young, I wasn't really focused. I wasn't trying hard, or I wasn't get good grades." Like, what do you wish you could give to that younger person or your younger self?
Great question. If I would, I'd like to tie it into the companies that I work with now because it matters. So there's a lot of stuff that you want to say to your childhood self, and I've actually had conversations to try to heal the childhood stuff because I look at us today and veterans and that a lot of guys from the special ops come from broken homes. Something along your path, though, whether you were or were not, there was a fork in the road for you, and you chose to go one way. That deviation could have been the change for you that actually started this down ripple effect. And then we can say, "Oh, I'm going to just place it on it's the military and all the combat that I saw. But really, it stems from a lot earlier, a lot deeper meaning that you have to fix. If I could go back and say something to my kid's self, I would say, you need to invest in your health. Really take it seriously. Don't just do the motions. Like, how you grow up a Catholic and you just go to mass all the time and then you're a kid and then you're like, cool, I know nothing about God. And I went through all the sacraments and I really don't understand a relationship with God is because I was just doing the motions. Same thing in the military. I was doing the workouts because we had to stay fit, but I wasn't really healthy. So I got involved and I'm part of a company called Transcend Company, and we do peptides and hormone therapy. And it's a telehealth company, and we're looking at bringing in 1,200 dietitians and implementing new products into the shelf. But it's all looking at your health and wellness. The first thing I would say is do your blood test and look at your biomarkers. You're going to see as you age where you're falling deficient, and it's so important. I would look at, and I'm saying all this objectively because I say what would I tell my kid self is health is more important than you ever thought because you're losing time versus gaining time by strengthening your systems. And so with Transcend, you go, you sign up, and you get a blood panel, and it tells you everything about what you need to make proficient or what you're deficient in. Most people aren't doing blood tests. I'm not here to sell product and say like you got to go with Transcend, you got to buy it, even though we are a great company. You need to look at your biomarkers to find out where you're at because it could be something simple that you could implement with, DHEA or vitamin D or zinc or something like that, and it could change your world. And it's as simple as making that change. Well, how do you know what to change? Blood panels don't lie. Your blood tells you. So look at your biomarkers. And if you need a path to go check out transcendcompany.com because that is exactly what we do. From there, you can get your health and wellness going. So in my 40s, I'm really now focusing more on what is going inside my system instead of the fads. Back in the day, we were all taking No Explode and taking all the red can stuff and just pounding the proteins and all the creatines that had all these additives and fillers in it. It's putting pure shit in your body. And you wonder why after doing 20 years of that, you have issues. It's because you are putting garbage into your body. So take it more seriously with knowing I'm not going to live in 20 when I'm 40 and 50 and 60. And so I've got to take care of myself earlier. And I think this younger generation is being more serious about it because there's more options to do organic and clean eating and there's more word out there. But I really would have said, man, you're doing it all wrong. You need to take it more seriously with the health and wellness. So I work with Transcend and I run the affiliate program. So I bring in affiliates to promote what we do. And while doing it, I'm also doing real testing and data on my side to show the growth in my own self. Like, okay, here I am at 42 years old. I'm taking minimal amount of peptides that I can, but to show where I'm deficient and then to show the outcome over 6, 8 months a year on what this stuff is actually doing for you. Everybody's got this conception that peptides and hormone therapy are steroids and that it's no good and all that stuff. You got to take a deeper look at what's out there. Do your own due diligence. Don't be a Democrat or Republican that doesn't focus on what the actual real reality is. You just hear somebody say something or regurgitate it. So look at the facts for yourself. So I've been with Transcend for a couple of years now and full time for the last 8 months. And it really, I love being able to give these offerings to people because we do have a for profit side where we sell product, but we also have a foundation as well that supports veterans and first responders to get product so they can get healthy again. And so it's not just a business, but we're also helping people on the other side too. So you can check that out, transcendcompany.com, and then the foundation's there as well. And you can see exactly what we do. Pretty similar across both paths. So I've been with them for a long time, and a good buddy of mine just bought the company. So it's really interesting. We're in a lot of different changes because we are implementing diet, and we're going to implement exercise, and then we're going to implement new products, which is a company that I'm part owner in called Superpower. So being able to protein up, right? I hired a coach years ago to help me with this stuff, and I had never been trained on how to count macros. And I hate counting macros. I don't know many people that like doing that. Like, I don't want to do it. One, because it's a lot. Two, I don't want somebody to tell me what to do. Like, I know what I need to do, right? But when I started realizing that I'm not getting anywhere near the protein intake that I need, I'm taking way too many carbs down, but I'm not burning anything. And my macros are all over the map. Again, it goes back to doing the research and understanding what your body truly needs for you to thrive. Why do you feel good in your 20s? Why do you feel like shit in your 40s and 50s? It's because you're not doing what you need to do. And if you reroute your mindset to say, today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to spend more time on me than I am on all the external stuff, because this is the day where I change things. And then tomorrow I don't have to do as much of that. And every single day you just start implementing a little bit each day, you will change everything about your life. And you will start to, in 6 months' time, you will feel awesome and you will feel way better because you're doing the right things. Supa was started by a couple buddies of mine, and they wanted to put a 21-gram protein shot in a can where you could travel. And so they started taking it to shows, and these guys are legitimate business guys with real integrity. I was like, I'm always apprehensive to get involved, like we talked about in the beginning. Your people around you, your tribe, how
Yeah.
do you? So they put it out there, and one of them's a formulator, has been a formulator for years, and he understands taste and all these things. But they're like, let's do something clean for real. No more bullshit. All right. There's all these sugars and all these fillers and additives, and we can't get around. We don't need to do that. Like, just doesn't need to be it. So they figured out a way to actually do it where it's actually clean. So when you say clean, it's really clean. And 21 grams of protein, you take 2 of those, you're going to keep your muscle mass without working out. If you take 3 of those shots a day, you're going to increase muscle mass without working out. That BLG1 in a 21-gram shot of protein, it's whey protein. And so I tasted it, and it's for, you taste something, you're like, I'm a guy who doesn't really care about taste. Like, I'll eat a shit sandwich if it's going to be, it tastes really good where I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous now because I could actually hammer down on this stuff. What they found taking it to trade shows is they were finding more women were getting involved with it than men. Now, obviously, we got bodybuilders and all that stuff that are taking the product, but um, women, because moms are busy. They're getting after it, right? They're running to the store, they're doing the soccer tournaments, they're traveling. And so they're like, let's make a can that's TSA compliant where you can travel with it. You can always be on the go with it. It's in your pocket. You don't have powder and protein anywhere. So you can check out supa-power.com. It's supa, S-U-P-A, or -power.com to go check out those protein shots. Now, I say all these because this is the time now where you should invest in yourself health-wise. All health. And the first function of it is look at yourself every day and say, did I move today? Did I eat today? Did I sleep today? And so in those categories, bite off a bite-sized piece. I'm going to just change my diet by 1%. And I'm going to say, okay, today I'm just not eating that chocolate chip cookie. You eradicate one little thing. Cool. You're taking yourself down. You're shedding those layers and you're taking yourself down to base level. Did I sleep? Well, I'm a kind of guy who, when everything's done for the day, I want to go binge watch like some Peaky Blinders or something. I love that show. So I'm going to binge watch, and my wife's coming out at noon or midnight or 1 a.m. It's like, come to bed. And I'm like, got it. And I'm so into it, right? So now I've cut my sleep and I feel like crap the next day. So I'm not getting enough intake of food, protein, and I'm also not sleeping well. And then, okay, now the day came in, I'm stressed out, I'm deficient on everything. And then I know I have a workout, but I have a lot of work to do too. I'll push that workout to the right. So if I would go back in time, I would say, take care of your health, man. And by doing this, the first thing you should look at is, do you love yourself? I ask every single person this question. And it might seem cheesy, but I don't care because I didn't love myself for a very long time. Therefore, I never cared about doing anything for myself. And that is a shitty mindset. You got to love yourself, because I believe that God gave us each one of us our opportunity to live here, to giving us life and these opportunities, and we're wasting it by not giving our all. And so I look in the mirror and I'm like, I don't love myself. I was a kid. I went in the military. I had to serve a bigger cause than myself. Didn't get to focus on myself. I get out at 28. I don't even know who Ryan Parrott is. And then I lived for the next couple of years as the Birdman Navy SEAL, still not knowing who I am. So starting to investigate and saying, okay, when I found love for myself again, and not in an egotistical, arrogant way, but just, I'm not changing who I am. I don't change anything about like that. This is what I look like forever. This is the size I am. I'm never going to be 6'2" and 225 pounds naturally or all that stuff, but I'm good enough. And I'm grateful that I am who I am and what I have and how I love myself. And when you can come to those terms, then you can start implementing these things to really show yourself some love. So love yourself every day. Be kind to yourself, give yourself some grace, and then do one thing for yourself every single day to put yourself in the mix with everybody else. That's it.
I love it. And I love that you added give yourself grace. Because guess what? Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. You eat that chocolate chip cookie or you missed a workout, whatever, let it go. Give yourself grace and just pick up from the moment. This is your new starting point. You can always start right now. And I got to thank you so much, Ryan Birdman, Patriot Parrott, for being here on the Asset Mindset Show. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe and share this. It helps us. We're doing positive work. Do a little something. It costs you nothing. So please do that. Own your power and definitely get out there and change and love yourself. You got to do it. It's so important. It'll change your life. It's going to change the world around you. So many good things are going to happen when you have your mind right. You start everything with your mind and then lead to your body, and the world and everything around you will change. You got this. So own the power.